The Bristol F.2b fighter, also known as the Brisfit or BIF, wasn't just another World War I biplane. At first glance, it looked like a typical two-seat reconnaissance aircraft, and that's exactly how it was used when it first went into combat in 1917. But that approach didn't go well. In fact, its first major engagement during the Battle of Arras was a disaster with a significant number of aircraft lost. Crews were flying it too conservatively, sticking to standard two-seater tactics. It wasn't until pilots started flying it more like a single-seat fighter, with the bonus of a rear gunner, that the aircraft really started to shine. Once the crews figured out how to use it effectively, the F2B proved to be a real game changer. Powered by a Rolls-Royce Falcon engine, it could hit speeds just over 120 miles per hour, significant for a two-seater at the time. The pilot had a fixed forward-firing Vickers machine gun, while the observer had a swiveling Lewis gun, or even two, mounted on a scarf ring. That configuration and armament made the aircraft a real challenge for enemy fighters, such as the Albatros D3, to deal with.
The software pump has opened up the 100 horsepower 9 rotary and put a little bit more space between itself and the two new ports. They're just having a slightly more energetic forward.
What made the Brisfit special was its adaptability. While it was originally designed for reconnaissance, it turned out to be a capable fighter, and a light bomber too. Crews learned to work as a tight team, with the pilot going on the offensive while the observer kept an eye out and laid down suppressing fire when needed. When flown aggressively, it could go head-to-head with some of the best German fighters of the time, and win. By the end of the war, over 5,000 F2Bs had been built, and they kept flying well after the armistice. In fact, some were still in service with the RAF and even the New Zealand Permanent Air Force into the 1930s. That kind of longevity was rare for World War I aircraft, most of which were obsolete by the time the war ended in 1918.
6 World War I airplanes to fly here at Omaha.
Post-war, many were operated by a slew of other air forces around the globe, and a few Brisfits even found their way into civilian hands.
So we built for a movie. This quest goes back to when I was in high school, and it was announced in don't look at me like that, it was announced in a World War Aero magazine that they were building 6 of these to make a film called High Road to China, which was based on a book by John Cleary. Fantastic novel.
Today, only a handful of original F2Bs still exist, and even fewer are in flying condition. Currently, one of the original F2Bs is operated in New Zealand by the Vintage Aviator Collection in Masterton, while 2 replicas are also based in the country. One flies with the New Zealand Warbirds Association in Auckland, while this example is based at the Omaka Aviation Heritage Centre in Blenheim. These 2 replicas were part of a batch of 6 F2Bs built in the USA by Vern Omert for the 1983 movie The High Road to China. Production delays forced the Bristols into mothballs and eventual replacement in the movie by other biplanes. All 6 aircraft were put into long-term storage in California, only to be rediscovered in recent years by an aircraft enthusiast from New Zealand who purchased 4 of them. Another of this same batch of replicas is currently flying at the old Rhinebeck Aerodrome in upstate New York in the USA. Watching one of these aircraft in the air today is something special. It's a link to a time when aviation was still in its wild experimental phase. The Brisfit wasn't just a fighter or a scout plane. It was one of the earliest truly multi-role combat aircraft, and it earned that reputation the hard way, up in the skies over the trenches.
Very competent aviator. The second Newport is being flown by Aaron Patchett, who works for Classic Aero Machining Services, building rotary engines, coincidentally.
If you'd like access to our ever-increasing playlist of exclusive members-only videos, hit the join button and become a member of our channel for only a couple of dollars a month. For just a couple of dollars more, you can also get access to our full streaming video channel at historicalmachines.tv, which features full-length documentary programs. We'd love it if you'd support our efforts to preserve this visual history of these wonderful machines.